Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Wednesday, June 11th, and welcome to another episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today need no introduction. My very first guest is back for his second interview with me, and it is going to be a show where I merge both of them together. My second guest has been on the show already previously, and I'm super excited to have him back again so that we can catch up. I hope you all are doing as awesome as I am and feeling as awesome as I am. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Today it is the summer fashion spectacular, and we are going to be talking about all things fashion for the summertime. So I'm super excited about that. All right? Welcome as you come in. Please share the live. Hello, 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 hello. And if you haven't, make sure you guys go and check out yesterday's show with Kenny Cooper and my Girl Talk Monday with Nikhil Nikki Brown, and then Hope Ellis. So it's been a pretty good week. Pretty good week. But let me go ahead and send this live to DQ Styles. My very first special guest is an award-winning fashion stylist. And the next guest joining me we have is Whitt. So I'm super excited to be catching up with Whitt. I think this will be our sixth interview? I've lost count. So please forgive me, you guys. I have to put my fan on a little bit right there. All right. Welcome, 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 welcome as you come in. Welcome as you come in. Please share the live with at least 20 people so that we can get this show started today. We are going to be covering black fashion designers, black things in today's show to kind of shift the mood a little bit. But make sure you guys are staying tuned. Make sure you guys are also subscribed to Style by Stevie Daytime. All right? So I'm waiting on DQ Styles. Let me see, because I just sent him a message. I just sent him the live so that we can get this started in here. Give me one sec. In the meantime, between time, make sure that you guys, if you're going to the protest Saturday, June 14th, this Saturday, June 14th, is the No Kings protest. I want each and every one of you to please be safe if you're going out here to these protests. This is for a very big, for what's going on right now, currently. Make sure that you're staying aware. Make sure that you are also being vigilant and mindful as well, too. All right? So without further ado, let's welcome our very first guest. Fashion Dolls is going to be a merging of both interviews, 1 at 3, and then the next one is at 4. So you're getting 2 guests today, all right? So welcome back to the Dollhouse, DQ Styles. What is going on? I just sent him the invite. Let me try now. I don't know what is going on. Here, let me try now. See if it'll work. What is going on today? It says you're unable to join. Did you update DQ Styles? Check Play Store to see if you're updated as well also too. It won't let you join. Update. Go to Play Store. We're going to be back, Fashion Dolls. You just requested. I just tried to add you. I don't know what is going on. Let me try again. Hopefully it'll work. Woo. There we are.
Okay, there we are. Okay, I was like, what is going on?
Yes. But you're here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here. So, welcome back to the Dollhouse. DQ Styles is back for his second interview, and we are going to be talking about all things Black fashion. We just not too long ago came off of the mist of the Met Gala, now the BET Awards. So many things have been going on and occurring, but catch up before we get into all of the current trends and everything and what you're looking forward to. How has because the last conversation you were here, you had an event that you were styling for, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I did my first fashion show. I did the Royal Harlem Renaissance Fashion Show. It was a 1920s, 1930s theme show, and it was a success, showed out show that we had did, and it was a great experience. Like to be my first one, I had a lot of people come. We had like six designers, including myself, seven. We had a live band there, drinks, food. It really felt like, we were back in that time in the Harlem Renaissance. So I was very busy. I'm still very busy too. Like right now I'm on production for a music video actually tomorrow that I'm shooting tomorrow. So that I'm excited about. So I just been doing a lot of that. I've been doing a lot of photo shoots. Since then I did Styling and She magazine. Um I think around that time, I don't know if it was before or after, but I did the Jennifer Hudson show style for a client of mine in LA for that. So I just been doing a lot of different things since then. So um yeah.
And we've been seeing it so much more to come. Now, you said LA, the BET Awards was not too long ago, and I'm pretty sure you've done some things for that as well, which we'll get into. But the Harlem Renaissance, that era, as it pertains to going back in history, Langston Hughes, learning about fashion, Black designers, there was very few and little in between. And for the Met Gala,
Mhm.
to pay homage to the Black dandy. That would have been the perfect era. So, right on the mark. How important is it that we continue to preserve these eras and periods of fashion? You said the
Um,
Harlem Renaissance.
Yes, I think for me, that era was very timeless, and people was elegance back then. They were classy. For I can't say the word, but for they were very. I don't know. I just feel like it's very important. I like timepieces per se. Like I
Oh,
like the 70s, 80s. Actually, this music video tomorrow is the 1980s era. So I like eras. I think the 60s, 70s, the 20s, the 30s, and the 90s were like the best eras to me as far as fashion is concerned. So to see a lot of that come back, I think that's very important that we keep that type of fashion going. And so it's good to see that people still doing that.
absolutely. And I'm seeing a lot of fashion influencers and stylists come in. Wayne, are you joining? Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Scott Lucas, who has styled for one of my favorite singers in the whole world, and I had the pleasure of sitting down and interviewing him. He has dressed Janet Jackson. So some of her
Oh
music
wow.
videos, yes, Wayne Scott Lucas is responsible for it. And also a good friend of mine who I became good friends with, Cara Young, who is a supermodel, and you might have seen her on the covers of Vogue. You might have seen her in the Maybelline ads, the Revlon ads. She was everywhere. So
Mm.
all three of us connected. So Wayne, let me know if you're joining. Send a blue heart or something and let me know. But today's show is focused solely on summer fashion because we are now in the summer months, and we're now out of the spring where it's like little by little, but now summer fashion is just about unveiling. Of course,
Mm.
you still dress in your layers, but you do it in light layers. And it's
Right.
all about relaxation and comfort. Because during the summer months, you're going to be doing a lot of errands. You're going to be going to a
Mm.
lot of concerts. As I discussed with my guest yesterday, Kenny, we were talking about how a lot of people are going to be going to a lot of concerts during the summer months. And we know the hottest one is Beyonce's Cowboy Carter
Hmm.
concert. So the cowboy cowgirl aesthetic has definitely took a liking to its own, and people are wearing it not just at her concert, but also outside of the concert, incorporating it into their everyday style. So I think that it's key and crucial that we find key staple pieces. And for you, that was a question that I wanted to ask you, and I'll get with D with, and we'll talk about the BET Awards. I'm a merge both, but for you, what are the key essentials that people need for summertime as it pertains to style?
Well, for one, a good pair of men and female, a good pair of sunglasses.
Oh yeah,
That's number one. Number two, I would say colors. Make sure that you have a lot of colors in your summer wardrobe. You know, royal blues, pinks, reds, greens. A lot of things that complement your skin tone. I always say to people, you don't want to get something that kind of wash your skin tone out. And I think some people, like me, I would never wear. I mean, I've wore yellow, but I would never like specifically wear like a yellow suit. To me, I'm already light skinned. Like I wouldn't do that. To me, that kind of drowns the person out, in my opinion. But I think, um, yeah, for a person to make sure they have color in the wardrobe, the sunglasses, a good pair of, um, uh, what? Let me think. A good pair of shorts, two-piece sets, rompers, jumpers.
oh yeah.
I think that's very important. You know, a lot of stuff to keep you cool, but still fashion forward as well.
And the dress that I'm wearing today is like full bloom. If you guys can see the rose part right here, and then the back
Hmm.
is out. So I wanted something that was full summer in bloom. The that I feel like a Grecian goddess over here. That like the gown is so long, I'm over here lifting because that's how long it is. But I wanted something for the summertime. During the summer
Hmm.
months, it's all about comfort, as DQ Styles just said. And when it's the summer months for me and my sister and my mom, we would have a ritual. We would wear our sundresses,
Hmm.
what's called sundresses. You're going to the beach, you're going to run errands and things. You want to be comfortable. And
Hmm.
then if you want to hit the red carpet and wear something that's clad, because my mom has this thing about this clad clothing. She does not like it. Clad, for those of you who do not know, clad is almost like it's hugging your body and it just
Right.
won't let. When you put it on, it shapes right to your body. So if you are a
Hmm.
curvy woman, my mom now has like an hourglass shape.
Hmm.
So she lost a lot of weight and she's trying to find pieces that work for her body. And she says, that's your style. That's not my style. And we talked about that the last time you were here about how me and
Right.
her style differs from each other. And it'll be certain pieces that I've worn on the show already that I've given to her, and she would add her own thing onto it. She would put a shirt underneath it and still be comfortable because it is
Hmm.
about comfort. You don't want to wear something. I remember I did an interview and I wore something that was leather and I was very uncomfortable. I was not feeling it. And to top it off, I was sick in that interview, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna push through it. Anything for fashion, but it's all about comfort. Summer months for fashion and style. It's all
Hmm.
about finding pieces that make you feel good. So I would say go with mesh. Mesh, you can't go wrong.
Man,
You cannot
It's
go wrong with mesh. Go ahead. I'm
it's
sorry.
crazy. No, no, I was just about to say it's crazy that you say mesh because I wore a mesh top. I wore a mesh top to a fashion show back in April. But I wore it with the kind of pants that kind of flare out. I wore it like that, but then I wore it like, and I had like a blazer on top of it, you know, on my shoulders. And so I think, like you said, the mesh, showing the skin, but like you said too, it's all about what you feel comfortable in too,
Oh yeah.
because you can't, that's why you shouldn't idolize people fashion. You got to kind of make your fashion your own, whatever that means to you. And I think that, yeah, you can kind of look at other people. Like for me, for instance, I think I told you this before. My favorite fashion person ever is like Tracy Ellis Ross, Jennifer Lopez, like my two favorite. But now I'm kind of lenient more to Tracy Ellis Ross. I still like Jennifer Lopez, but I feel like with her Pacific style, she wears the same thing, kind of repeated stuff with the
Yeah.
sparkles and all of that, which is nothing wrong with that. But I feel like Tracy kind of switch it up more because you don't know,
Oh yeah.
maybe she'll wear a dress with some sneakers or a blazer with just a belt on it, and then she adds shorts with heels or something like that. Tracy is very versatile, I think, when it comes down to fashion. Period. Like she makes it her own, but it also fashion forward.
And that's what it's about. It's about switching it up. So I mean, look who her
Right,
mom is, Diana Ross. And I have
right, right, right.
pictures of Diana Ross on the wall by my closet here. If you look when I post the OOTV of the day, I have the women that inspire my style, and I'm looking at Grace Jones and then Diana Ross, two Diana Rosses at the bottom, and then to Rihanna, Taraji P. Henson, Whitney Houston, Kamala Harris. It's a wall of women. So I
Hmm.
always look to these women for inspiration, for style in some sort of way. And it's key and crucial that we be versatile for the spring, summer months. Like I bought a pantsuit and I
Yeah.
haven't worn it yet. I said, Lord Jesus, I don't want to be washed down in sweat in this interview, but I am going to wear it on the show. I just don't know when. So I've been already trying to, because throughout this season, it's been nothing but dresses, skirts, cutouts. So as it pertains to anybody finding their own individual personal style, I think it's key and crucial that we switch it up, try different things, rompers, play suits. And my mom has really gotten into the rompers because she'll see me wear something and then she was like, how come it doesn't look on me like that? I was like,
Hmm.
yes, let's try it. Let's try it because
I
that's what
like
it's
the
all
One
about.
Piece.
And they're so comfortable. You can go around,
Yeah,
run
they are.
errands, you got to do it.
I love a One Piece. I love a One Piece. I love a overalls. Um, I don't know. I just think they're comfortable. You can kind of mix and match it. You can
Oh,
wear it
yeah.
with a vest. You can wear it with the just a little tank top. No shirt, depending on where you're going. I just think one pieces and two pieces and stuff like that. They're cool, but again, they're fashion forward, and I think that's important for the summertime.
Absolutely. Hats, you've mentioned shades, sunglasses. Uh, be versatile with your spectacles as well too, because there are so many different shaped lens. They brought back that old fashioned. In the '60s, women would wear these. I would say in the '60s, most of the
Hmm.
'50s or '60s, the lens of the glasses would be circle shaped, or either
Yep,
like a
'60s.
cat. So I
Yep,
mean,
'60s.
a lot of
Hmm.
those. I mean, it's never left. It's still been there, but history repeats itself as it pertains to fashion because a lot of looks that we would see during that era, whether it may be the '60s, the '70s, or the '80s. You said you're working on a video, and I can't wait to see this.
Yes,
But
it come out tomorrow. It come out probably the top of July. But yes, all of it. It's the '80s. I've been working really hard on it. I also shot another music video last year. And also when you was asked, it just came back to my memory. But you was asking, me all the stuff to kind of like what I did last year. I shot a lot of content for the show last year. I lost one of my closest friends that was part of the show too. She passed away from stomach cancer, so that was going on. So I was dealing with that and planning the show. It was just a lot going on at that time for me last year. Because I wanted to do another interview with you around my show time, but again, I just had a lot going on. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the mental the I wasn't mentally I was there, but you know how you there but you're not there. I felt like that was my mindset then. Um but yeah, I continued to keep working through that, and this year I'm doing more. I want to do more videos, more styling, more traveling and stuff like that. But um I don't know. Like fashion has evolved. Your fashion should evolve, and I think a lot of people kind of stay in the box when it comes down to fashion. Guys and girls, and I think people should kind of. You don't never know. Like I would tell people, you don't know how you're gonna look at something until you actually try it and put it on. And I think the summertime is really important to do that. Maybe if you say if you always wear black. Like I use that for example a lot because a lot of people do wear black. I personally love black, but I know that um I can't do black all the time. Like you have to kind of switch it up and put color and find out what colors works for you. And I would say switch that up first if you kind of figuring out what your color is. Everybody has a color, you know, the colors that look nice on them. But um yeah, you just gotta find the fashion and the pieces that works for you and works for your body. And I think the summertime, you know, people getting their bodies right and getting them together for, you know, traveling and stuff like that. I think that's really important that you go outside the box. And I think for me as a stylist, that's the type of stylist I am. Something that might not look good on the mannequin or might not look good on a mood board or but you never know until the finished product. And like I always tell people, you gotta trust the process. Trust the process when it comes down to fashion. And people don't
Exactly.
like to do that.
And I love what Now's the Time just said. I have to put color in. Why I'm trying to put color on. I have to put color on with trying to stand out. Or you're trying to say, I like to put color. Me too. My hair is colorful today. It matches the gown that I'm wearing. I'm stand up a little bit so y'all can see it, the detailing,
I
everything.
love that.
And the back is out. So it has a strap. The strap is on this side, whereas most gowns would have the what is it? The straps all the way going down the back. My
Hmm.
back is exposed, so it's like the strap is right here on my left shoulder. And I know in the camera view it could be different, but that's what it's about. That's what spring fashion and summer fashion is about. Being able to
Hmm.
risk and plunge. Because when I first started, believe it or not, EQ, uh, you said black is your favorite color. You would have loved me then because it was more so masculine, but now it's more so like you can't keep me out of a dress. It's like you're a glamazon goddess. I have to be in a gown. I have to be in a dress. I have to be in something feminine now
It's the
because when I
dramatic of
first
it
started, I
all.
was developing my own sense of style. But
Mm.
black, yeah, the colors I would go for would be black. It would be basic black. It would be blue. It would be
Hmm.
cream, and that would be it. But now you can't keep me out of color. So I mean, I had a theory about wearing red. No, I don't want to wear red. My mom would buy me all sorts of colorful things. Those were the only colors that I would stick with: black, cream, gray, and white, and that was it. But now I'm like a chameleon. I love color. I gotta have color.
Yeah. 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 I love color too. I love color. Black do be my go. It just depends though. It just depends on how I'm feeling. I always tell people, you know, you dress how you feel. You know, sometimes people I think for me, I vary. Like my mood varies, my fashion varies. So my fashion be like one day I may be chic, I may want to wear I don't know, maybe I want to do like a when you mix the patterns together. I don't know. It just depends. And I think people shouldn't look at fashion as a thing that you know, is this thing that you should be scared of. I think you should embrace fashion and every part of fashion um and not want to be always be in the box. And I think a lot of people put themselves in a box, which then that's when I come in because I kind of take you out of that comfort zone.
Yeah,
You know, you may get mad at me and all of this other stuff because I'm gonna kind of push you out of that, but eventually you're gonna be happy at the end result because you be like, wow, I never knew that I could look like this. And for me, I feel like that's my job and that's my purpose to make people feel good through fashion.
absolutely. Now's the time. I've seen the growth of Miss Stevie. She put it on. I have a skateboard style and sometimes urban. Yes, he does. And that's why I fell in love with him because he is so eclectic.
Hmm.
Almost every one of my friends have their own personal individual style. And they're just like, if we could be going to brunch or
Hmm.
something, and we know that Sex in the City is coming back to show the spinoff, and just like that, you have that one friend that's gonna stand out and be the carry of the group. And I definitely would be the carry of the group. I wouldn't be the Samantha, the Charlotte, or the Miranda. I would be more
Hmm.
so carry. I love to stand out. So
Yes, Erica
I mean, I'm
is.
gonna bring the drama. Drama is that's what it's all about. And after the show, I'll be well before I go on. I text my guy friend one of the pictures of the outfits that I'm wearing, and he was like, "You always got to be over the top." I said, "I love the drama. I love the theatrics. It's
Yeah,
got to be
yeah.
explosive. It's got to have a train. It's got to have color. It's got to have a back out, a leg out. It's got to have something that stands out from the rest." Because I would have never seen myself wearing these. You would have asked me about, I want to say season one or season two, maybe season three. When I started this platform, I
Mm,
would have never worn anything like what I'm currently wearing today. But I guess you go back and you look at your pictures, and it's just like even our childhood pictures, and it's just like, oh my God, would you wear that again? Because
right.
people have actually taken their childhood photos and used them as a style reference because a lot of these styles
Mm,
like the Go hats, that's black dandyism too. So as we're
mm,
talking about black dandyism, I think of a bow tie, I think of a cuff link, I think of details, and shout outs to the BET Awards for showcasing, saying, hey, if you're gonna come dressed, it's gonna be a dress code. They kept the theme of the Met Gala going, which was black dandyism, as now time mentioned. And a lot of people are going to be wearing, pulling out those ties, those dress
mm,
shirts, those suits, anything that resembles the black dandy. I think of top hats. I think of clocks. I think of the
mm.
cane that men would walk with when they come in. So, I mean, it's all of these different things that are being incorporated into our style in some sort of way. And I
I
think
love that.
that Dochi is a great example of doing black dandyism. Janelle Monae hits the check mark every
Yes, she
single time,
does.
checks
Yes, she
off
does.
all of the boxes of black dandyism. It goes back to when she first started. She wear the bow ties, she'd wear the pants, she'd wear the clean white dress shirts. I mean, that is the perfect example of that. And in black dandyism for women during that time period in the Harlem Renaissance, it would be
Mm,
pearls, it would be the brooches in the hair. It would be the most significant details as it
mm.
pertains to summer fashion. So a lot of the fashions that we would see in the Harlem Renaissance, you're going to see during the summer as well too. That black dandyism theme is still going. So
I
I love that
love.
these chose to do that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just about to say because we was talking about the BT Wars. I loved my two favorites that I'm thinking about in the back of my head right now. Tisha Campbell, Tisha Campbell. She's not married
Oh yeah.
anymore. Tisha Campbell and Ryan Destiny. Only because Ryan Destiny got what is his name? What is his name? Um Law Roach as her stylist now. And
Yes.
he styles Celine Dion and he also styles Zendaya. And I thought Ryan was, she just dropped dead gorgeous, in my opinion. But I think her fashion sense, since she did her promo for that movie that came out, that boxing movie, her fashion has been on top tier. Like she was good before, but since she hired Law Roach, her fashion has been crazy. And Tisha Campbell, her stylist is Jay Bowen. Jay Bowen is like
Yes.
my top favorite stylist ever because I feel like he is kind of like, I'm not gonna say I'm like him, but I in a sense of creating the whole picture of a person. Like he kinds of create the hair, create the makeup, create the gown. He creates all that. And I think for me, I think about the hair first. I think about the makeup. I think about the look. I think about the shoes. I think about the bag. I think about all of it as being one. Because you can't, for me, I always say, like, if you have a dress that kind of needs to be off the shoulder or something like that,
Oh yeah.
it's nothing wrong with having your hair down, but sometimes pull the hair up because it kind of elongates your shoulders, stuff like that. But I think Jay Bowen, Law Roach, Maria, and Rob, who is Jennifer Lopez stylist,
Yes.
those
Rob
three,
St.
like,
Carter.
yes, like my top three, and I love Tracy Ellis Ross stylist, even though she doesn't need one. But
Carla Welch. Shout outs
yes,
to
yeah,
Carla Welch.
love Color Rich. But those are like my top favorite because I think for them, they don't just style them and just throw them on the outfit. I don't think that. They it shows that Jay Bowen is very detailed person as a stylist, and that's to me how I like styling people. I'm very much a person who creates the mood board. I think I told you this before. I create a mood board for the person. I will change that mood board 10 times before I send it to the person that I'm actually who actually hiring me for the service. Like I will change it multiple times because for me, I'm a perfectionist. So when it comes down to the fashion, I'm very much like it got to be right. Like the hair got to be right, the shoes got to be right. So when
Yep.
we ready to shoot or wherever you going, you gonna be together, and all I got to do is watch you shine. And I think for me, those stylists really, not to say other stylists don't want their client to shine, but through what I see on the red carpet, you could tell when the stylist really just throw you out there. You know, I've seen people been really wrinkled on the red carpet. I've seen people maybe the hair being very messy. And to me, it's just all about like how you put it together. And I think those stylists, like I said, really care about their clients and how they look and represent them.
And it's so many of them out here from uh, Colin Carter, who's worked with Cardi B, to, as you
Yes,
mentioned, Rob,
follow him too.
Jason. Amazing what they're doing. Jay Bolin has worked with SWV also as well too. Love Tisha Campbell's look at the BET Awards, and I thought
Yes,
it would be perfect. A lot of people like you can't wear leather in the summer. It's a different type of leather though. If it's more so in the fall or in the winter, yes, you can go with patent, you can go with latex. But if it's like in the summer months, you do it
yeah.
with a cutout or you belt it. Make sure it's that lightweight type of leather,
And they
not that.
did that.
Yes, and Jay Bolin did an outstanding job. Love the earrings, love the hair color. She looks amazing.
And she
Another
said
one of
that.
my favorite looks was Kiki Palmer. Kiki Palmer,
Oh yeah,
again, keeping that
keep it
black
calm.
dance theme going. She did it at the Met Gala, and she's still keeping it going. The bob cut was everything. Uh, just the dress in general reminding you of a tux. It made me think of Josephine Baker because if you go back in time and look at Josephine Baker and her
Mhm.
style, it was
Yes.
more so feminine and masculine at the same time. And I just recently wore a piece on the show that had a
Mm.
lot of people talking that kind of was very resemblant to Josephine Baker's. To the because she was known for feathers. She was
Mm.
known for bringing drama. She was known for standing out.
And
So
you
this,
and you know she Kiki been doing this thing to where she's been giving homage to people back in the day. That's crazy that you say that because that dress that she wore, I literally saw it today. I don't remember the designer. I don't want to say because I know I forgot it. But I seen it earlier today on Instagram that somebody did a side by side of her and then somebody way back when wore the same dress. So Kiki's been wearing a lot of stuff since I think since she started doing the promo of that movie that she did with SZA. I think
yes, one of
ever
them days.
since then she's been doing a lot of vintage pieces. I love her stylist too, Sierra. I loved her look. I thought Sierra look was, to give homage because she is from Atlanta. She had the Atlanta hat with the I think it was kind of like a frizzy, fairy like type dress, and she had the open shirt with the jewelry and the bangles. It gave a very chill look, but it also was high fashion. And I just, Sierra's drop dead gorgeous anyway. Whatever she put on, she's gonna look good. But I just love her outfit too.
Yes, and it's the BET Awards. If you're going to the Oscars or the Met Gala or the Grammys, that's when you really turn up the heat and bring drama. But the BET Awards, you can still be. What I love about it is you can be relaxed and you can also be clean to the nine. And this was the look that everyone was talking about, the Josephine Baker look with the feathers. It's all in
I
the
like
detail.
that.
Yes. And I remember wearing this dress when I did my interview with Olga If, who is
Hmm.
awesome. couture fashion designer, and she's way cross country, big, beautiful designs. And I said, I want to wear this dress. So thank my mom for picking out that dress because it was a gold and black one that I also wore as well too. But the feathers were not like that with the neck piece. It was more so up here. So I mean,
Mhm.
I've done so many throughout this week. I've had so many looks. So when you guys vote Friday, you'll know which one to vote for if you vote. But that was from the previous week before. The other
I
one had the
just
gold feathers. There's
I
so many.
just wore a look that I felt like I gotta I'm gonna do a photo shoot coming up soon, but I just got an award for I think the 31st. I got an award for, what was the Excellent in Fashion Award, and I had this custom made suit from this designer here in my city. Well, yeah, in my state, not my city. But she customized this structured, it was a structured black suit,
Oh,
but it was, I wanted, like, I just told her that I wanted shoulder pads, I wanted it to be kind of like pushed up, I wanted the arms kind of, I wanted the arms tight, I wanted this physique like this, you know, taken in, I wanted the pants flared out, and she added like a train, but the train was connected on to like this part of the arm. It was connected, and usually trains, are in the back, but I wanted mine to come from the arm, and it was really nice. Like when I do the photo shoot for the actual look, I'm gonna post it so you can see. But it was actually, I'm gonna send you a picture after we get off this. I'm gonna show you
yes.
how it
I can't
was.
wait to see it.
It was
And
nice.
now's the time, yes. Take pictures of everything that you put on. Find your angles. I I can
Hmm.
take out my Pinterest because I put all of my looks on Pinterest once I'm done. Let me count up and see how many they are total, and then I'll show it to y'all. Yeah, we're at like 1,100 pins.
1100.
Yes.
I wish I would have thought about that.
Those are all of the different looks on Pinterest, and you guys can follow me on Pinterest. It is titled Miss Stevie's LOTW. Anytime I do an interview, I always upload to my Pinterest, and you can see it right there. 1,135
Wow.
pins. Yeah,
And
this
I
is where I
have a
get a lot of the beauty inspiration from. I'm revealing all of the secrets to y'all, but you can see a little Halle Berry. That's where you know where I get my makeup and my beauty inspiration from. Right here on Pinterest. Up there goes a look right there. I'm about to pin.
I have a
And it's
Pinterest.
all in the details. All in the details.
I have a Pinterest account that I use as far as ideas and inspirations as far as how I'm going to style someone. Just to look at some ideas or whatever when I first start with a client. But I have my own page, but I don't post like.
Uh oh.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. You must have got a call.
I did. It's crazy. Well, I told you I have this video tomorrow, so that's what one of the calls was.
You're good. You are good. But you were telling me about Pinterest. Shout outs to my brother K Tukes, host of the K Tukes Spot. We are talking summer fashion trends, and it's gonna merge. I'm gonna merge both interviews, so we're killing time, waiting on DeWitt. Hopefully, DeWitt will join us. I just sent him the live, and we're gonna be talking. We covered all of the bases of summer fashion staples, key pieces that you can use in your closet for the summer times because it is going to be hot these next few couple of days. And then before you
Hmm.
know it, July will be here. So 4th of July is going to be a lot of outdoor events and activities going on. So I know everybody likes their shorts. Everybody
Yes.
likes their shorts. A lot of people are doing, a lot of women are per se doing the dress shirts and
Hmm.
shorts and pairing it with boots. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could do it. We just got off the midst of Coachella. So that was some of the pieces that would be a key staple piece that you would see during Coachella is the boots, maybe combat boots or moto boots with a boy short. But me, I I opted for a different approach. I wanted more so gowns that were clad, that showed the back off. A lot of Juneteenth events going on. Yes, now's the time. A lot of events that'll be outdoors. So,
Mm-hmm.
still want to be the talk and the toast of the fashion town, but still have fun. And that's what it's about.
How do you kind of rock your, so say if you were going to a Juneteenth event and it was maybe like I don't know, brunch outside, would you kind of switch from not the, if you do wear the dress, would it be a different dress or would it be, shorts or with a long shirt that look like a train? Like how would you do that when you do the outdoors events?
I would probably, if it's brunch outside, I would do something like what I'm wearing today, something flowy, something
Mm-hmm.
that when I walk in, it moves. Or as you said, a shirt with a nice pair of pants, and
Mm-hmm.
it can have a train on it. So I mean, I'm versatile as it pertains to that. I love rompers too.
Mm-hmm.
So can't go wrong with the romper because you're gonna be bouncing around, you're gonna be mixing and mingling. It's just friends, brunch with your friends or going out. But
A bumper with a
if it's
good
more so
feel.
like, yeah, an evening gala or something like that, I would wear something like what I'm wearing today, which is, like I said, this train is pretty long. This train is pretty long. That's why I'm holding it up so y'all can see it. But that's what I would opt for. But if it's like a summer festival, like now's the time, said Juneteenth, Pride events, all of that is going on. You're gonna see a lot of that during leading up to July. I would go for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I would put on a long shirt and or some boots, whatever makes me feel comfortable, because you're gonna be moving around throughout the day. You're gonna be wanting to go talk to everybody. You're gonna be wanting to
Right.
network. So
And you don't want to
again,
be
have
hot.
about comfort. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, I just love one piece. I don't know why, one pieces, jumpers, overalls, like that is my favorite. Like as far as something that you can just slip on and just go. You don't really got to think about it.
the MLK Park. Now's the time in New York. I gotta come. I gotta come. I gotta come because there's gonna be a lot of events going on. A lot of concerts, a lot of music festivals, a lot of things that will be going on during the summer months, and we all want to be comfortable, as DQ
Hmm.
just said, because you don't want to put on heavy leather like Angel Reese. And I love her. I love Angel Reese's style. It was a game not too long ago, and the players were coming through like this tunnel, taking pictures and everything, and she had on, let me see if I can find a picture of it, because I did save it to my fashion. I'm like, okay, if she can do this, I can do this as well too. I love how she layered it and everything. It was
Hmm.
very beautiful, very tastefully done. She had the hat. Okay, this is Angel Reese. That's her. And I love how she paired the hat,
I
the
like
boots,
that.
everything. Very fun. So, and then I would probably opt for something like this. This is the summer month. So again, I love the drama. If you guys follow me on Pinterest, I'm pulling a lot of inspiration. So a lot of the styles that I wear here on the show come from my mood, as Nikki Style said, a mood board. I'm
Hmm.
always prepping. I told y'all I keep my nose in a lot of fashion magazines. So if not fashion magazines, then Pinterest. That's where I get
Yeah.
a lot of my looks from, the inspiration and style come. But I've
Right.
put my own spin onto it. Like I love to accessorize. And during the summer months, you can never have too many accessories. You can never have
Hmm.
too many angles. You can never have too many rings. As you can see, I love stack rings. So it's all about layering for what works for you. My mom has a piercing up here. So
Mm.
she'll go and she'll mix and match your earrings. So change it up. Have fun. Have fun with it. And if I'm doing something that's off the shoulder, I said, okay, the dress is the standout piece. You notice I don't
Right.
ever really put on necklaces, but some people, if you want to, you can. I have worn dresses that came with the choker to match the dress as well too on the show. But
Mm.
that's what it's all about. We're doing what works for you. And I say mesh is the way to go during the summer months. Mesh is the way to go because it's breathable, it's lightweight. My mom still is not into the clad pieces like I am. but mesh is the way to go. So if I have a mesh piece, I'll give it to her. If I've already worn it, if I've already worn it,
Mesh and
yeah,
crop tops. People wear a lot of crop tops
yeah.
now. The guys and girls too wear a lot of crop tops. Um, so like you said, it's all in what you kind of it. Fashion is a show of expressing too. So it just all depends on you and how you want to rock your fashion. But I just think that, like you said, if you would have worn a necklace, I feel like the necklace would have took away from the dramatics of the dress that you have on, because you didn't need it, because you have the hair, you have the earrings, you have the ring, and you have the dress. And I think sometimes people can do too much too, because it's like you don't need all of that. Like certain pieces
Oh yeah.
is, I mean, certain things is the piece that, just like you just only thing you needed was the dress, the hair, the earrings, the ring. You didn't even need a bracelet, but a bracelet can be added because you don't have anything on the neck.
I love what Pure Luck Salon said. A dainty necklace. Chokers are the way to go if you are a choker fan. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the fasten with the claps in the back. I mean, it's so
Right.
many different ways that you could do it. But that point right there, the DQ just made, which is sometimes we can overdo it with the accessories. Now we're like in the '80s. The more bangles on the wrist, the more
Oh yeah.
heavier. And when I
Oh yeah.
think of, I look at Grace Jones. I have her Essence cover frame. That's when you said that about over exaggerated, because we know she likes drama. She likes
Yes.
depth. You're gonna see her in a fancy. And by the way, Janelle Monáe and Grace Jones just recently hit the stage not too long ago. She still looks amazing. Um, less is more. But for her, she likes the drama, and I love the drama too. But I do
Yes.
it in my own way. So, I mean, if you go back and you look at Grace's Essence cover,
Hmm.
you look on her arms, and she has these funky shaped bangles. So, you're
Hmm.
going to see a lot of those during the summer months as well, too. Like, it's summertime, and gold is definitely a staple that never goes out of style. So, you're going to see a lot of gold. You're going to see a lot
I
of
love
cocoa
gold. Gold is like
bangles.
one of my favorite colors. I
Yes.
love gold. Love gold.
Let me see what Pure Lux said. Love the pops of pink in your hair, Stevie. Thank you, Pure Lux. Thank you. And it matches the gown because the gown has magenta. There's like a magenta or a pink in it as well too. So, oh, I think we lost DQ.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, yes. For Grace Jones, she was all about the drama, all about the theatrics, and standing out. It could be a headpiece. It could
I just thought
be,
about something.
yeah.
Oh, I was trying to let you finish.
No, go ahead. I was looking for the picture of her, that Essence cover.
I was gonna say who stands out. Um,
Boom.
Joan Crawford and yeah, Joan Crawford and Marilyn Monroe, especially Marilyn Monroe. Like she was very dramatic. Like, but I loved her style. Like I love Marilyn Monroe's style. It's a gown that I have screenshotted in my phone when I was thinking of inspiration for my 20s and 30s show. It's and it's a video too of her going into this party. I think it was in this film, but she was going into this party in this orange gown, and
I
it
know who
had
you're talking about,
sparkle.
Jane Russell. And
Yes,
Jane Russell has the red. They walked in and heads
yes,
were turning. I know exactly what movie you
yes.
talking about.
I love that outfit, and I had it screenshot in my phone. I'm like, this is how I want people to dress, because I just think that her her dressing was timeless, and she knew kind of, even though she kind of had the same hairstyle as far as the pin curl for that era, her style never missed to be that time in that era.
Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. That's the name of the film. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. And the scene that
Hmm.
DQ Files is talking about is where Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell walk in. It's like they were in sync. And
Yes.
everybody's mouth was to the floor in that scene. Like they were focused on them. That's what I look for with style. You want that. You want to be the focal piece when you walk into that room. So when we think about the likes of Grace Jones, Tracy Ellis Ross, who was Zendaya,
Share.
who abs share,
I just
uh,
thought about that. Bob Mackey it was her stylist, and I think he was Tina Turner's stylist. But the way
for
he
sure.
dressed her on that show, the share show, every look was like this. Like we gonna do it more and more and more and more and more. Like I love that for that era, and that was the 70s.
And you mentioned flared out pants, bell bottoms. We
Yes,
see actors like Lakeith Stanfield. We see so many
yes.
others who are
Love how
incorporating
he
the
dresses.
70s into
Love how
their
he
style.
dresses.
Yes. And gentlemen prefer blondes. I mean, and then that party scene, that's one particular scene, and it's a scene where she's on the phone. She's wearing this beautiful white number, red lip. Jane Russell is laying out. I think she had on black. But go back and check out that film, and you will see exactly what me and DQ Styles are referring to.
Yes.
As it pertains to reference, a lot of people was thinking Zendaya's look, the tailored suit, because Jane Russell did have on like a suit and a skirt.
Mm.
Oh, D Witt is here. Ladies and gentlemen, my second guest, D Witt, joins us, and we are talking about the history of fashion, summer fashion, black fashion, all of that, and so much more. We got a model and we got an award winning stylist here. All right. So, this is the merge I have been waiting for. Hopefully, it works.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, exhausted.
Yeah.
How you been?
I have been great. It is such a pleasure to have you back.
Thank you so kindly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yes, how has everything been since we last spoke? I want to say the last convo we did was in 2024, I want to say.
Yes. Yes. Since then things have been how can I put it lightly, all over the place. Good, bad, and indifferent. I recently had a health situation that I had to get taken care of. And thankfully everything is, working out, but it definitely put a lot of things in perspective. And that was like recently. That was like a few weeks ago actually. One of the first times in my life that I was ever hospitalized, and I was in the hospital for like a week, and
Oh,
it
God.
was definitely scary. But thankfully I have, a new team of like neurologists and stuff like that, and I'm just following through. But it's, things happen unbeknownst to me. I've actually had a major seizure, and
Oh,
I've never experienced anything like that before in my life, and it was very scary to the point of like foaming from the mouth and stuff like that. And the neurologist, even to this day, I had 6 MRIs done, and they still can't actually dissect as to what's causing the seizures and everything like that. So I have another exam I have to take on Friday, an
Mm.
EEG and all this stuff. So I'm like, something, whatever. If you want to make me come out of this like a Marvel character, go right ahead. I don't mind. But it definitely, but once again, it puts everything in perspective. So the stuff that I would think about, I want to say a few months ago, right now, it's not even on my radar, only because, my health is number one important. But I'm still able to work out. I'm actually changing my fitness, trying to be, how can I say it, much more lean, which is I've always struggled with. But actually, just it's just trying to take my fitness like to another level. I have a big photo shoot on Sunday. So details will be coming for that. Yeah, and outside of that, been working hard. I just came back from Spain. Um, and I'm starting new projects, work wise, this upcoming summer. And hopefully within 2 years, I would like to start my own non for profit organization helping out teenagers, like going into the high schools and actually providing career uh, management as well as life skills, because a lot of these students, especially within like the Bronx and New York City area, are like sort of lost. Like, a lot of them don't know what they want to do. They say they want to go to college, but they say, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be, this, that, and the third, which is amazing. But I always ask them, but what's your passion? You know what I mean? And then when I ask them that question, they get stuck and they have no answer initially, because no one really, asked them a question like that. Or they always say, oh, you're going to college? Great. But I try to dig a little deeper, because everyone has like a hidden passion, whether it's to play the damn violin, whether it's to play Uno, whatever it may be. Someone has something that they love doing, but always assume that they can't do it. You know what I mean? So again, every student that I've asked, either they want to be a singer, they want to be an actress, they want to be a model, they want to be, a detective, they want to be a songwriter, but they assume because they're from the Bronx and because they're, from the inner city, quote unquote, that it's not obtainable. They can't do it. And again, the norm does not ask these students or like this age bracket questions like that. So I'm trying to provide things where in which yes, you can do it. The only one thing you can't do it is yourself. I'm like, if my old ass can start modeling in my late 30s and been doing it consistently, and again, it wasn't to become no big time model. I just enjoy taking pictures and I loved it. But I always thought that I couldn't do it. I was too short. I was gay. I was this, that, and the third. But then I had went to, like I told you before, I went to a fashion show and I saw this younger kid walking, and I just kept critiquing everything he was doing. Like in my head, I'm like, wait a minute, I would do it this way, I would do it that way, I would, And then I said, wait a minute, I'm over here sitting here talking a lot of, bullshit, but yet and still, I'm sitting here while he's walking. Why am I not doing it? So once I started, there was no turning back. So I want to provide stuff like that to these, to this, the 14 to like 19-year-old and maybe 20 to 24-year-olds that think they cannot do anything. And I was speaking to a girl yesterday, and she wants to be a singer, and she's like, yeah, but I can. I'm like, why can't you? She goes, and then she had no response. She had no answer as to why she can't. So I said, listen, I said, it's all about management. It's all about marketing. I said, if you have people, and no shade to anyone who does TikTok or love and hip hop, this, that, and the third, or whatever the situation is, there's an outlet for everyone, and if these people can go out there and actually know how to market themselves, then anyone can. And especially, you have to be business savvy. So I'm trying to, the goal is to try to teach that to the youth, because, working in the industry that I'm working in now, I employ students, and I've been doing this for 4 years and it's been amazing. But these students come to me with other situations, outside of just trying to get a job. And this is all unprompted. I don't ask them to come to me and ask me questions, but they just feel comfortable talking to me. And then when I have like, five, six, seven, eight, over 100 students coming to me and asking about relationship advice, life skills advice, being afraid of something, I'm like, wait a minute, this has to be a sign for me to start my own thing. And that's my ultimate goal. And I got to do it. I want to do that. I want to write my book finally. Based off of the coffee table book about the body image, stuff like that. I definitely want to write. I should have been writing when I was in the hospital, but my black ass wanted to get out of there. But aside from that, it's just all about, moving forward. So now it's trying to put everything that I wanted to do and said that, I'm going to do. I have to make that into not a dream anymore. So I have to make it into reality and actually start doing it rather than saying, oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow. No, I have to do it now. I recently had a heart monitor I had to wear. Because of the seizure and all that stuff like that, because I was nervous and everything, and I'm like, now I gotta wear a fucking heart monitor. This is crazy. But I'm like, something, at the end of the day, I'm still walking, I'm still talking, I'm still able to
Yeah.
be alive. And there could be things worse that could have happened. But at the end of the day, it was a wake up call. And I'm have a lot of supporters out there, so I thank so many people who've reached out. But it was definitely scary. I've never been in a situation like that, where in which and I didn't want visitors or anything like that. I just sat there in the hospital, like in my hospital room, and just was just thinking. I'm like, all right, what if I don't wake up tomorrow? What if I have another seizure and this puts me out? What if I get a
No.
stroke? So there were so many variables, and the doctors wouldn't let me go home because they wanted to make sure that I was not going to have another one while I was in hospital. And I think that fear lasted for like one day. And then after that, I'm like, listen, I'm overthinking it. And overthinking is not going to do me any justice whatsoever. It's only going to make me panic more. It even make me possibly have another seizure. Lord knows, So I said, let me just relax. There's things that I can control, and there's things that I can't. So I know I leave everything in the hands of God. I mean, but at the end of the day, I have to do what I have to do to make sure that I'm good. And so far, so good. It's been a scary 2 weeks, but at the end of the day, it also has been a blessing. I don't mean to be rambling on, but yeah.
Oh, it goes to what we were talking about, which is when I started my conversation off with DQ here, I asked him because we were supposed to be doing an interview back when because he had a fashion show just recently,
Right.
launching his brand and everything, and we were talking about regrouping, having to go things back in place. And one day God just put him back in my life. He messaged me
Look at
and he
that.
said, I want to come back on the show. And I said, why not merge both interviews together because you both work in the fashion industry. DQ is an award-winning stylist, has been published in Sheen magazine, and is
I seen some
working
of his
on a
stuff.
music
Yes.
video. And then you
Congrats,
yourself,
brother.
you have some
Thank
things
you.
coming up. So I said, why not merge the two? Maybe you two can network and do something together. So I think that that's what it's about. And I was one of the people that reached out because I seen it in your stories where you were in the hospital, and I seen
Right.
the IVs in your arm and everything. And that's
Yeah.
personal to me when you said seizures because my sister that passed used to have seizures.
Oh,
So
my
that's why
condolences.
it's deep and
Mm.
personal to me.
Right.
So I had
Yeah.
to reach out to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was crazy because I got a lot of flack from people. I'm an Aquarius, and I'm used to people either talking, mess or whatever like that. But I never let it bother me. All I did was really just, just it just fuels my energy. It makes me even work harder. I'm like, if you hate it now, wait till you see it tomorrow. But a lot of people were like, oh, why did you post a picture like on social media? And everyone assumes that it's for attention. First of all,
Right.
I'm not that type of person to have to do something I'm very personal. Number one, as many people know, it's a rare occasion where in which I may post something personal like on my social media. I always feel as though social media is called social media for a particular reason. I think personal, I leave that to those who really know me. But at the end of the day, this scared the hell out of me. I didn't know what was going to happen the next day, and I'm like, you know something.
Mm.
I have to sort of, because there could be someone else out there who could be suffering from something. I had a lot of people reach out to me, and some people were very much curious as to what was going on, but others were just, listen, I just hope all is well. But I did have some people sit there and tell me the same, tell me stories like that. Listen, they were asking, questions as to, what happened, and yada yada yada. And some that I told, some were like, "What? Wow, my nephew just had one. My nephew's 7 years old, and he had two, and the doctors don't know, what you call it, what's causing it. He had two MRIs and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, Then another person reached out. She goes, I lost my brother. He was 33. He had a seizure out the blue, and he died in her arms. And I'm like, wow. So hearing stuff like that, I'm like, something. This is one is therapy for me because again, I don't display that side of me because I try to hold everything in and try to just keep moving. That's how I was raised. Definitely the 90s and the 80s were a different time period. I wish I can go back to that time period. I mean, the way I was raised and the friends that I had and living in the hood and stuff like that, it was completely different from how it is now. I would love to go back to that because regardless, there was drama, yes, but we still together regardless. The drug dealers still hung out with the hoodlums and yada yada yada. But they were a family. Now it's completely different. So when you have people reach out to you and definitely you never know who you can help. But then again, for me, I didn't know what was going to happen the next day, and I've never been in a situation where in which I'm like, holy shit. I'm in the hospital. What if I don't make it out? What if or something happens? What if they tell me something else happens? I mean, with the heart monitor, and it actually fell the fuck off, and I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. Have to take it off Sunday anyway, but it's one of those things where in which I only had to press the button if I experienced any type of like situation where in which my heart started beating a little too fast. So my shoulder, hurt. I was able to work out, but mildly. So I guess my doctor's version of working out mild is not my version of working out mild. My version of working out mild to the norm may be like, damn, you still working out hard. I'm like, no, this is a little mild. Thank God I haven't experienced not one single situation where in which my heart, felt funny or anything like that. So, it's a good thing to get yourself checked. It's a good thing, to follow
Absolutely.
through with take your medication and stuff like that. I'm very hard headed. My mother would always say a hard head makes a soft ass, and that's literally me. But at the end of the day, I'm the type where in which it has to be something drastic for me to wake up. And this was
Mm.
drastic enough for me to say, listen, I gotta stop playing games. I've had three actually mild seizures within a year. And I didn't take them
Mm.
seriously. I did go to the doctor and everything like that. They prescribed me medication. I wasn't taking it, and I'm going to keep it strictly 100 because, again, I'm not going to bullshit and sit there and say, oh, yeah, do this, that, and the third. No, I didn't take mine. I didn't, and I had my own reasons for not doing it. But at the end of the day, if I would have been taking it, maybe I wouldn't have had the major one that I had. And I say major only because, I was like, my body was stiff. I was foaming from the mouth. Thank God I didn't have a stroke, but to me that's major, and for other people to come and see me in that situation was definitely like holy shit. The crazy thing about seizures is that you can go from that particular extreme of being incapacitated, not being able to move, not being able to talk, and then waking up out of it, not remembering nothing for those few minutes, but
Yeah.
yet and still my body was still intact. Like I felt strong. I didn't feel physically sick, and I'm like, how can I go from like literally being frozen to now being up? It's in a matter of minutes. It's crazy on how um that happens, but it's scary as hell because something in those few short minutes I could have been dead. And it's like, something I need to wake up. So, I say that and to be honest about, my situation because there's other people out there who possibly don't like taking medication. I don't like taking medication at the end of the day, but something, sometimes that shit can save you. And I don't want to be a casualty of me just being hard headed or thinking, outside the box. I gotta really, really take my health and my life into consideration, because it's the only one I have. And, I have people out there who love me, but at the end of the day, I love myself. And if I love myself this much, I have to do what I have to do. And sometimes, like I said, a tough situation will make you wake up, and it made me sit there. I there was like three people who died within that week that I was there, and they were younger than me, and it was like it's I was mind blown. It was just so much going on. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What if I'm next? Like I'm like, I can't move forward with their dreams. You know what I mean? I had said, I haven't been doing a lot of modeling a lot only because I need to sometimes feel inspired. And if I feel as though, I did X, Y, and Z, I don't want to just put out X, Y, and Z. I want to put out something where in which, that I don't see people like me doing, or put out stuff that people assume like people like us can't do. I don't want to fall into any category or any stigma. I didn't want to be that gay model. I have a lot of friends like, oh, you're always posing your underwear. I'm like, oh, you damn right. Wait till you see what I'm posing in tomorrow. I do that for my own reason. I do it because one, back in the days I would only see like the white boys, in Calvin Klein ads and stuff like that. I didn't see guys who were like short like me, like 5'8", kind of thick. I didn't see that, and I've always wanted to do something like that because I'm like, but I can. I know I can rock it. I know I can definitely do it. But it can be intimidating, and it's even more intimidating with your own sort of race at times when you don't get the support that you would assume that you should get. But it's too many people question, oh, you do this for this particular reason. People don't know why I do what I do. People don't know why why you do what you do. The best thing to do is to ask, as opposed to automatically assume. And I used to always want to fight that, and then I stopped. I'm like, I'm not fighting that no more. If you want to think that I'm a turtle, think I'm a turtle. I really, it's not doing nothing for me. You know what I mean? It's not changing my life in a way. I'm gonna continue doing me. I've had students, try to get into my Instagram and look at my WhatsApp stories. They're like, "Oh, you're always in the gym, posing and taking pictures afterwards." I'm like, "Yeah, and you're always looking." I'm not paying you to look. So you have an option. Don't look at it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to continue to post because it's called appreciating the shit that you do. If I put in hard work,
Yeah.
I am definitely going to
Yeah.
gloat. I'm definitely going to appreciate it. I want to see my body progress because I'm 52. I'll be 53 next year. Something, if anything, I feel stronger, and I'm going to keep pushing myself to that limit where in which, I'm not going to let nothing stop me. And if my legs are moving, my arms are moving, I'm going to continue pushing. And if I know my body can get to a particular point or my career, I'm definitely going to make that happen. People don't understand that. It's always about, oh, you're being conceited. Well, the ones that are staring and the ones that are looking, maybe you should be conceited. Maybe you should appreciate yourself more. It took me hell and high water to get to this point. You know what I mean? Because I didn't love myself back in the day, as I told you before. I had horrible self-image issues. Being Jamaican, being gay back in the days was not easy. I didn't have that therapy and stuff like that. I just kept it moving, and to finally be open and free, it was like, damn, I actually had to fight a harder battle being open and free because it was always trying to change that stigma of people assuming what you are and why you do what you do and stuff like that. And I'm like, something, I used to fight that before. Now I'm not fighting shit. The only thing I'm gonna fight is for my life. People want to think one thing, that's all on them, but the people that assume are the ones that are watching. So those are the hidden fans at the end of the day, because I think they strive to want to do what you do and be like you, but are afraid. So again, it's all about motivation. I do that to inspire a lot of people. When I see these young kids and stuff like that, when I see the struggles that they go through, I always let them know, listen, you guys, life is a struggle. Things could be worse. You're gonna have your goods and your bads. I said, but you guys nowadays, you have so much more support than people, coming back. I mean, coming from like my time period, we didn't have that at all. There was no even schools. My parents paid for me to go to school. Thank God. Fortunate enough. But at the end of the day, there was no counselors and therapists and all that. My school now is a charter school, and there's so many counselors and therapists and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, wow. And people still complain. And I'm like, something, maybe stop. Maybe appreciate what you have, or if you don't need it, don't use it, because maybe there's someone else who can take advantage of that, who really needs it. So instead of complaining about, this, that, and I got to do this, I have to do that, or this person's telling me to do this, you have ultra support. One day you may not have shit. So don't forget about that. You know what I mean? Don't, count all your blessings right now, and don't, be very appreciative. A lot of these kids are not. And I'm trying to instill that within them. It's a battle, but it's a battle that, something, I think that I have a talent for. I think I'm very approachable, but at the end of the day, I like to be a straight shooter and actually, talk the facts. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sit there and tell kids, give them a Google answer at all. If you're fucking up, I'm gonna let you know you're fucking up. Especially for me being, a boss to so many students. It's like, wow. I said, listen, the stuff you do to that teacher and that person, don't get it twisted. You could try it with me, but I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. And it's going to affect your pockets. And they're like, oh yeah. And the only way they're going to learn is when it happens. And when it happens, it's like, oh, she thought I was bullshitting. Okay. I said, I'm not the one. And you know what I mean? People, again, I said, you don't have opportunities like this every single 10 seconds. You have to appreciate it. And hence why, when I wasn't taking my pills, I'm like, something, it could have been, this could have turned left in 2 seconds. But again, it just made me appreciate things, and it made me actually work harder to make my dreams really come alive. Especially now, I have to. There's no turning back. I got to do my book. I think that's something that, out of everything that I want to do, I think that's the scariest thing for me to do. Taking doing that photo shoot about the body image issues. I had to put my mindset in. I had to go back in time, and that was not easy to do at all, because and I still struggle with it to this day. I think it's something where in which, I've never went to therapy. I was always a person who, for myself, didn't believe in it, because I felt as though even having conversations like this and talking to people, I don't have to know you, but if someone listens to me and give me eye contact, to me, that's my own therapy. You know what I mean? And people think that, that's not important. I think eye contact is extremely important. I have students come to me, they want to work, they have their head down, they're not looking at me. I ignore them. I ignore them. I said, so you're not showing me no type of power that you want something. You have your head down. You feel timid. So before you come back and attempt to ask me something, you need to change all of that. So adios. And I don't even give them anything else. I'm like, you have to give it to them like that, because you sugarcoat it, which everyone does. They still don't get it. So continue doing that. It's not going to get you anywhere. I'm showing you, something. I want someone to come in and look at me and say, hey, good afternoon. How you doing? By any chance, to you, let's have a conversation rather than, mm-mm, mm-mm. We're not doing that at all. Especially when you have 15 gazillion opportunities here. You know what I'm saying? So it's something where in which I have to, you know, um, um, just continue to deal with, and again with that book, I really, I think taking pictures is one thing. Writing about it's going to bring up a lot of hidden demons, but that's my therapy, and I just have to put myself in that right state of mind and really focus on doing it. There's a reason why I didn't write in the hospital. I said afterwards that, oh, I should have been writing, but there's a reason why I didn't. Maybe that wasn't the time, not even maybe that wasn't the time for me to do it, because I was going through too much, and I don't think I would have been able to focus just on that, with so many other moving parts. I have to, when I do this, and I am going to do it because I have to, um, for myself. But when I do this, I have to be. Everything is going to happen when it needs to happen. I hate planning things. I'm not one of those. Oh, so then June 15th we're gonna do this and the third. Certain things I think takes it should not be planned. I think it should just happen freely and on its own, organically, and when it's supposed to happen. Especially something like this, because body image issues. I think it's something that many people struggle with. Male and female, and it's something that especially a lot of us, we don't talk about. It's something that we sort of block or put to the side and say, oh yeah, but I dealt with it. I used to be that person. Oh yeah, I used to have it. No, I still have it. I still do. I still struggle, with my weight. I think it's something that there's no cure for that. The only cure it will for me is just learning how to handle it, and not let it overcompensate my entire being. But it's something in which I feel as though I will always struggle with. And I don't think a therapist or medicate, nothing's going to take that away at all. You know what I mean? I would never think that I'm good enough for certain things, or something equated to that, just because it's weird. I think it's turning into something in which it motivates me. It pushes me harder to make things happen. You know what I mean? But I think without that, maybe, will it push me harder? You know what I mean? Like, would I be doing, attempting to do the things that I want to do if I didn't have that particular struggle? Possibly not. I don't know. But this struggle that that I have is something that I've always dealt with, and I dealt with it by myself. I didn't. I always said that anyone could tell me something, anyone can give me advice, anyone can give me their expertise, or a scientific answer. But at the end of the day, it's up to me to make that decision as to how I'm going to handle it, and it lives and dies with me. So I'm handling it, but that book is going to be something in which I really want to put my heart into it. I don't want it to be something where in which it sounds like a self-help book. It's not. It's a self-help book for me. You know what I mean? This is my way of getting something out that I is that I've always said is the biggest issue in my life, and it will always be the biggest issue in my life. Then to feel as though that you're not significant in some type of way, or you can't stand your body, and no matter what you do, you're still not 100% happy with it. That's a hard thing to manage. Some people, take it a step further. They would try to end their life. I've never did, thank God. I never, but
Yeah.
and nor did I ever contemplate that. I would just have my own inner battles with it, and talk to myself, and go back and forth, and not eat, and try to be skinny, and eventually that stuff could have killed me. But now I know that with my fitness, that I have to do things the right way, and I'm knowledgeable enough and smart enough to know what I have to do, and I know what works for my body. It's a lot, but it's not really that much. You know what I mean? Like I said, consistency means everything, and if you're not consistent with something, then it's, to me, everything defeats the purpose. And I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity and this platform. I think you were the first person to sort of give me this outlet like that, because again, I've been asked before, in the past, by people to just speak like on podcasts and stuff like that, but I didn't want to do it. I always had a phobia about speaking and stuff like that. I have a lisp and all this stuff. And then it was to the point where, like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? If people don't like it, they don't have to tune in. They don't want to see me, they don't have to look. I mean, it's I can't fight or try to change someone else's perception of me. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why I told people when they look, they're like, "Oh, you're always doing this and the third." Well, you but stop looking. You have an option. I'm not telling you to look. I'm not paying you to look, but you're choosing to do so, and then you choose to go and try to. So how I'm like, how is that motivating yourself? Maybe it's helping yourself because you're assuming that's going to put me down and make me sit back and feel bad about myself. I
Right.
laugh. I would never allow someone's comments to make me, or you do this, you do that. Yeah, I do. Okay, and what? You know what I mean? So I've been that strong of a person, but it's I again, I thank you for you made me feel comfortable. Hence why I did it the first time, and it will continue supporting you and everything like that. But it's something very needed, I think, because I like how you bring the different types of people, and certain people, and giving them that platform and that outlet to sort of speak and tell their story, and connect and network and stuff like that. I think it's all about that. We don't we have people trying to do that, but it looks very different. I like people that are authentic and it feels real and it doesn't feel like everything has to be like a, again, like a Real Housewife of X, Y, and Z. It's like it becomes a show. And
Right.
yes, is it popular? Is it funny? Yeah. Would I watch it? Yeah, I do. But at the end of the day, I sit back and I'm like, wow, if I'm going to put stuff out like that, I don't want it to read as being staged or phony. I want something really authentic, authentic. And that's why, going back to the book, I have to be in the right state of mind. And I still am trying to figure out, I like to put a twist on things. You know what I mean? I think, that's the creative side and the art side within me. Yes, as much as I want to write a book on getting this particular issue out, but at the same token, I'm also a model. I'm also, in the particular industry in which it's not. I don't want to just put out a regular, either hardcover or regular ebook or whatever like that. I want to add something to it to make it me. You know what I mean? So I'm just still trying to figure out that process, but I'm letting it happen organically because again, I could be 70 years old and still write it. Age doesn't mean anything to me, but again, I want it when I do start getting into that process. I want it to feel like it's the right time for that. So just gotta, I'm waiting myself.
And when you do it, when you share your story with the world, when you're sharing these
Right.
bits and pieces and vulnerability of yourself with the world, it brings a different feeling because
Yes.
we've seen Lizzo and the transformation with her, and so
Yes.
many other people sharing their stories of weight loss and how they find themselves in a depression. They're not happy. And even
Mm-hmm.
me, I've had to cut back off certain things. You see the shift with me gaining and
Right.
losing. But I want people also to take away from your message as well as that beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Of course.
And
Always will
you're
be.
going to have so many people who will try to turn a mirror on you, who will try
Mm-hmm.
to put, how can I say it? Put your put your life story out there, but you have
Right.
to do it yourself. And
Thank
so
you.
that's why it's key and it's important and critical for us to do that. But for you sharing this story is going to help people who have suffered from body dysmorphia. You
Right.
wouldn't believe I have friends who tell me their stories. Oh my God, I don't feel like my body's, or comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, you're tripping, you're seeing things.
Right.
But to them, I can't take away from their experience. So
Exactly.
by people talking about body dysmorphia or weight gain, weight loss, or wanting to
Mm-hmm.
have, and then society, my goodness,
They make it
society,
harder.
and then here it makes it even harder for you because you're
Yes.
looking, and as we're seeing, as we're scrolling, as we're doing all of these things, we're seeing things that make us want to put pressure on ourselves to be like, we got to
Of course.
change this. No, it's inside of you. So thank
Mm-hmm.
you for sharing that story,
Thank
that
you.
testimony
Thank you so
with us,
kindly for that saying that.
because there's
Yeah,
so many
it's not.
people have the same thing.
Yeah, it's again, thank you. I mean, it's something where in which I never thought that I would even want to talk about and stuff like that. There's a few people in my life, that I've told like the full story and stuff like that, and I actually went into detail. Not that many people, they know that I may have said it, but I've never really gotten into detail. There's always triggers, and there's always, I still have my triggers. There's always, and again, being a gay male, that played a major part in it as well. I come from a football family, come from a basketball family. I was the only one who really didn't, want to aggressively go into sports. My older brother, who's 2 years older than me, was a star football player. 6'5", this, that, and the third. My younger brother was, the smart one, tall. He played basketball, and here goes me. The short one, the stocky one. I was fast, so I ran track. I tried out for football just to please everyone. But I'm like, I don't like this shit. Once I got hit, like in practice, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this. It's not for me. And I used to watch ice skating and stuff like that. So there's no shame in my game anymore. At the end of the day, I used to be afraid to talk about stuff like that, and I didn't want to sound like that type of gay guy or sound girly and everything like that. Teach his own. Now I'm at a point where yes, I did. Did I play with dolls? Yes, I did. I'm in front and say I didn't. When I did that shoot with Thomas Evans called Feminizing the Masculine Man. And I think I had told you about that. that was one of the hardest shoots that I ever had to do. Again, because I think in theory, I love the concept. The concept was amazing. But for me, it was like, wow, how do I get my mindset? Because again, I don't. If I'm gonna do something and commit to something, I don't want it to read phony. I don't want it to read stage. I really want to. If I'm gonna do it, I have to try to turn the shit out, especially if I know I can. But that was a shoot where in which I knew in my head I can definitely turn this out. But then I'm like, but what will this do for me? Like, can there be a backlash? Can there be people looking at it and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm not surprised he is gay." Blah blah blah. Like I didn't want that. But then once I started overthinking it and letting others get into my head, I'm like, wait a minute, boy, what are you doing? Stop, stop, stop. Yes, you're going to have people have their comments and say things and assume things, but you know something? At the end of the day, you're going to turn that fucking image out, and no one can say you didn't. So when I look back at the image, I was showing some friends recently, some of the teachers that I work with, and we were in Spain, and when they saw it, they were like, I'm like, uh huh, and it's just like, and one of them, she became very much a good friend to me. She was like, when she started critiquing, some of the pictures, and not a critique saying, "Oh, that looks nice. Oh, look at your lipstick with this and the third." Like, she really went into detail in terms of like the lines and the facial expression and the contrast and stuff like that. And I love that. I love when a person takes my
Can y'all hear me?
now I can't.
Now I can hear
Now I
you.
can. Now I can hear you.
Yes, you must have got a call. When you get a call, it knocks your sound out.
Yeah. Yeah, so I definitely appreciate, how far I come, with the modeling, but I did take a bit of a break. Now I'm definitely, pardon me, much more selective in terms of like the of my shoots, only because you know I'm I think when you are a model, and I would to this day call every person who is a model, because a lot of people don't call model artists at all. They don't, I think it's very much an industry or a profession where in which people really misjudge it. And I think it's sad because it takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of talent. um I was telling someone, recently, I'm like, listen, you can have a beautiful face and you may want to model, but if you don't know how to connect with that camera, and actually, when a photographer tells you, well, look intensely into the camera, I make sure that camera's a person, and that person is reading me. You know what I mean? Because that connection with the light and with the camera, not everyone can do. You know what I mean? Because it's very intense, and you have to be that chameleon and stuff like that. So it's something again that not every I think it gets very much misjudged. And I was at a point. I'm at a point where in which I want to see what's next. Like I want to see what else I want to do. With it. And I'm sort of like lost to the fact of like okay, yes, I could do photo shoots and stuff like that, which I still love. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I want to do more, but I just don't know what that more would consist of for me. You know what I mean? And then again, it's all about that balance between of that. There's so much
Oh
that
yeah.
I still want to do, and that will take much a higher precedent um over the modeling. And again, I think I was allotted so many amazing opportunities by so many amazing people, and I love you know um um the camaraderie, the friendships that I made with so many photographers and production companies and designers and stuff like that. I'm eternally grateful for that. But I definitely want to see what's the next step for me in this particular industry. I know there is one, but I have to set that up, and I haven't been able to like really nail it down as to there is something I want to do. You know what I mean? Acting, yes and no, but it's not something that's a major thing. I would prefer to model over acting any day. Any day. I think that's my comfort zone. I think I'm good at it. I enjoy it. I love being that different person for that particular moment for those 2 hours. I don't feel like, I'm the regular Dion or what have you. I have to morph into someone different, and I love doing it. I love, being different and just actually expressing myself. Even with the nude work. People think, oh, you love, being nude. You know how much confidence that takes, especially for someone who had body image issues, is to sit there and
Yes.
be completely stripped down and nude and and not look it in the face and not look like they have an issue with it. That's liberation. You know what I'm saying? Yes, of course people want to see a nice body and stuff like that. I damn sure do. But again, it's not just about, oh, I'm a freaky dude. I like, being nude. I'm comfortable. It took me years to be this comfortable within myself. And then once I became comfortable, I said, if I'm gonna do this, I have to do it. And it became something where which it became second nature to me. So now, I was always contemplating, about doing like another coffee table book. I definitely would love to. I am going to do another one. Just trying to figure out exactly what that's going to consist of. I think it's all about upward mobility. I want to start putting. There's so many talented people that I've seen. A lot of them I work with, a lot of students, a lot of young kids that I'm like, wow. And I look at them, I'm like, something, you can rock X, Y, and Z. I know you can. I know, and I can help you. And they're like, really, you think so? I'm like, I know so. I know so. I tell people that I've learned to study the industry. You know what I mean? You have to, in order for you to, move forward and actually, get these deals and actually book these shoots and stuff like that. You have to know how to study people and study the market and know how to market yourself. When they took my Instagram down, I at first I think I was not like hurt and stuff like that. I was pissed
I
because
remember
I'm
that.
like,
I
something,
remember you
but this is the
messaging me that.
yeah, it was like I'm like, but this is the code of the streets. I'm like, it is what it is. That's not going to stop me from creating another one. I don't care if I have less than 1,000 followers. It's not about that for me no more. Before it was like, oh, when I opened Instagram, I have 40,000 followers, and blah, blah, blah. Now I can listen. If I get 20 likes on a picture, I don't care. If I get one like, I care. You know what I mean? So it's not about, how it was before, because I think it getting taken down taught me a lot. I've seen other, people's profiles that don't get taken down that maybe should get taken down because a lot of their content is explicit. I had posted a picture, I think it was this week. No, last Wednesday. And it was a back shot. It was not anything sexually aroused. I had posted stuff like that before. And then it kept getting taken down by IG. They kept taking it down the same day. And it was making me so fucking angry. It was like, I don't understand this at all. And then I appealed it 3 times actually, because I'm like, to hell with this. I'm going to continue to appeal it because this is not right. And then after the third time, they actually restored it. But I'm like, how quickly you guys were to take this down. And then right after they took it down, I think I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw someone's profile. I don't know, it was some international. I mean, this person, lived, I forgot what country, but it wasn't United States. And the content was like, are you kidding me? And had like 5,000 likes on it. I'm like, wow. I said, but again, it's picking and choosing. It could be people reporting or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the nature of the business. But it's still not going to stop me from continuing to do what I do. You know what I mean? But I just think it's absolutely insane. But when I tell these young kids that I know have that could rock. Whether a photo shoot, whether it be an amazing. One of my students, we went to LA and he's told me he's like, oh, I would love to be a photographer. So he actually saved his money because he worked with me, and he bought himself a professional camera. And I said, listen, bro, we're going to LA. Most of the students, they're going to be posing, they're going to want their pictures and stuff like that. He goes, oh, it'll be great if I, like charge them like $5 for like 3 edited pictures. I'm like, bingo, perfect. I said, make some cards, make some things. I can help you market it. We can give it out to the students. Everyone was coming at him. We had about 80 students that we took to California recently, and he made a hell of a lot of money in terms of marketing himself and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And me looking at this young kid and just seeing his passion and seeing how much he wanted to do it and he made it happen, I just sat back and I applauded him. I said, listen, this is what I'm talking about. This is what you want something in life, you go for it. Especially if you know you're good. And you know you're good. You know what I mean? And he knew that and he started smiling. He goes, thank you. And I'm like, something, it's a blessing. So for me, stuff like that, seeing that I can sort of, just instill some type of hope and into someone else, it makes me so much more happy than I ever thought I would be. You know what I mean? And I think I get I that feeling is better than me, let's say, taking a picture. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like putting someone else on, sort of like instilling like that power in them that they can obtain it, especially when I know they can. You know what I mean? I have one student. He self-taught himself how to play the guitar, and he looks like he's Italian, but he's Puerto Rican. Um, and he 3 months, within 3 months, and when I heard him play the guitar, we had like a showcase in the school. I was just gagging. I'm like, are you kidding me? And he was very nonchalant. He's like, yeah, I self-taught myself and stuff like that. I'm like, I said, why you never? I said, have you ever thought about or contemplated, like being an artist? He goes, yeah, I can't do that. I said, says who? And he's like, no, but I can't. I again says, oh, I know who said you do. Why can't you? So then when I started talking to him, I'm like, listen, I said, number one, I said, you're very marketable. I said, one, because people will not assume you from living in the South Bronx, um, you don't physically look like the stereotypical person who would, people will assume that you're white. You know what I mean? But you have that street swag with you, which is another selling point. I said, and then you're playing music that people would assume someone from the South Bronx, Hispanic, is not going to be playing. That's another selling point. I said, you have close to 5 selling points. That's well marketable. He goes, would you help me? I said, absolutely. So we meet in next week, and I'm going to help him, and I get passion, for that because this is helping me eventually start my own organization, which this is exactly what I want to do. One, it's about instilling those positive vibes within
Yeah.
people and showing them how they can navigate it. But first thing is first. Anyone can ask anyone how to put the page together, how to market themselves. That's the easy part. The hardest and the biggest value out of all that trumps all of that is actually instilling that self-confidence within that person and having them think that they can do it. And that's what, again, people would not even assume that. They would always go right to you're helping them, put market themselves and like, career management, I said, it's not just that. This person went from not assuming that they can achieve something that they really wanted to do. That's called self-confidence. You know what I mean? And that's a struggle. So I'm helping them get over that. And I start by telling them how good they are and reiterating, yes, you taught yourself how to play guitar in 3 fucking months. I can't teach myself how to play guitar in 3 months. I'm gonna sound horrible. I already know what a key is. So how do you do that? That's called a talent. And a lot of when I'm telling this kid this, and he wasn't the only one that I've had situations with like that, and there was so many other kids that I'm like, wow, people don't tell you that or how good you are. You know what I'm saying? People normally are so quick to assume and judge and tell you what you should do rather than ask you what you want to do and just sit there sometimes and not even say shit. Close your mouth and just listen. Just listen. That goes a long fucking way. And a lot of people, teenagers and even adults, don't have that. And that can definitely dwindle your self confidence because it's like no one listens to me. And I was that person. I felt as though everyone was telling me what I should or what I can do or what I'm not doing. Just fucking listen to me. That's it. Just listen. If you listen, you'll learn a lot. But people don't listen. They'll listen to what they want to hear, and then they'll pick from that, and they'll go and be Mr. or Miss Therapist. And what I do now, I just walk away. I don't have the patience for that. I'll be damned. And I don't care who it is, family or foe. I really don't. I'm a grown ass man. If I need a person to listen to me, and that's what I want, and am I getting that? Adios. I have no time for that. And I tell these young kids the same thing. You don't sit there. You should not tolerate that. You need someone to listen to you. You're supposed to have someone listen to you. Give me eye contact when I talk to you. I give when someone complains to me, or they just want to just dump a lot of stuff, and they just need someone to listen. I just sit there and I just listen to them. I just listen, and I just ask them when they finish, "Are you okay? How can I help?" Like that's what people need, and a lot of us don't get that. So I want to be that person to provide that. And again, I learned this just by watching. I see what the needs are, and if the needs are that high, that means I can market myself and make that happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that I know it's obtainable because it's needed. And I didn't make this happen. this was all brought to me. You know what I mean? Sometimes things are just thrown in your lap. If people come to you unprompted, that says a lot. So I had to look at the sign and say, wait a minute, this is happening way too often, and this has to be, it's telling me something. It's telling me something. And I think having this damn seizure was like, all right, motherfucker, get up. Time to start putting things together. It's time to start, looking at your life and saying, okay, are you happy what you're doing? It's you
Yeah.
know why haven't you done X, Y, and Z? And when you are in a setting like that, when you're alone and when you don't know which way the wind is going to blow within a few hours or minutes, you think about every damn thing. But ironically, I didn't think about every damn thing. I focused on my life meaning career, everything, health, wealth, and everything else. What's going to make me happy the next phase of my life? Because I'm not 12 years old. I'm not 22. You know what I mean? I've lived half my life already, and 60's right around that damn corner. Am I afraid? Hell no. I used to be. I'm not afraid anymore. I want to welcome 60 like I'm fucking 30, and I'm going to treat it like I'm, like that. A lot of people say, "Oh, you old?" Yeah, damn right I am old. I'm old and wise, but at the end of the day, I can still move better than a freaking 22-year-old at times. So it's to me, age is a number. I used to be very much like self-conscious about it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm turning
Yeah.
50. I embraced it because something. I still feel strong even with going through this situation. It has not stopped me. If anything, I'm more focused. Physically, I think I'm in the best shape of my life. I weighed myself yesterday. I'm 162 pounds. I haven't been 162 and I don't know, Lord knows how long. But then when I was like 150 back in the days, I looked like I was a crackhead because I was not eating. I was a male anorexic because of the body image issues. Now I'm close to that weight line, but at the same token, I'm much more cut up because I changed my workouts and now I know what I need to do and stuff like that. And age is not stopping me from doing it. So, yes, I am old, but you know something? I think if you look at it now, the new 50s are quite different on how
Yeah.
it was, let's say back in 1990. You know what I'm saying? Everyone within my age that I know for the most part, even a lot of people like on social media that I've met. This dude 55, and I would never have assumed. I'm like, amazing skin, everything. You have to take care of yourself. I tell my students, especially to the boys, you know, um, what products you use for your hair? Like, 'cause my mother always told me as a kid, after you finish washing, taking a shower or what have you, you put lotion and cream on your face, this, that, and the third. Like, she told me about skincare management. She told me about, cleanliness and how to, dress. Like, my love for fashion and clothes. I love clothes. I love shoes. I love sneakers. Like, it's insane. I had my first Louis Vuitton bag. I don't know how old I was. And someone said, "Oh my God, that's so expensive." Yeah, but I wanted it, and my mother bought it for me. God rest her soul. You know what I mean? I'm the split image of her. I got that from her, and I think that people would equate that for being, oh, you're too showy. No, if you work hard, you can spend your money on whatever the fuck you want to spend it on. I choose
Right.
to do it on, you know, myself. Like, people would ask me in the gym, "Oh, you put your outfits together before you go to the gym?" I'm like, every freaking day. Yes, I do. I said, because I see people who go to the gym, and no shade to them, to each his own, but they look like they don't want to be there. Sh- uh, Dingy shirt, dingy sweatpants, and their workouts to me are going to equate that. If you look good, you're going to feel good, right? So I put effort into my sneakers, got to match. Ooh, I'll wear some joy. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything. And then when I go there, I feel good because I look good. You know what I'm saying? So everything trickles down, and that works for me. But to me, it's common sense. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna throw on like a dingy looking sweater, I'm giving it no care, right? Oh, I just picked something up. Like, I have people friends say, "Oh, I just picked something up." I ain't picking. I'm not like that. I ain't just gonna pick something up. Nope. You know what I'm saying? But again, to each his own. But then when I look at how lackluster some of their workouts can be, I'm like, well, you just picked it up. That's why. So I believe in it's not just one thing that helps another. It's a process. You know what I'm saying? So these are things that I'm again that me talking about will be embedded within this new organization that I want to start, because again, these are life skills, and a lot of people, especially nowadays, really need it because a lot of them don't have either that at home or friends that can help them like that. You know what I'm saying? And with so many other moving parts, people are given so much nowadays rather than making them work for it. So things change so drastically when which it's like they since they it's given it to them, they become entitled, right? So and then on top of that, it's like why should I have to work hard for when I can just get it? I know I'm gonna get it like in 2 seconds. Where in which that's not the right attitude, because that can go bad in 2 seconds, because it can make you, one, not appreciate something, and number two, not make you follow through with your dreams. Where in which I come from old school of hard work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had my first job at 14. I gave my father rent money. He wanted us to pay rent at 14, and I had no problem with it. I had chores. You know what I'm saying? So these were things that to me was my norm. You know what I'm saying? But hard work. My father had put money aside that I was giving him for rent, and when I graduated high school, he goes, "Here you go." And I'm like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. He didn't have to do that. And even if he didn't do that, I still wouldn't have thought twice about him in no way, shape, or form. That's something that my father told me, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do. Nowadays people don't have that. Nowadays it's like they want more because they're given something easy. And I'm like, no, life is not like that, because you're going to meet people that are not, or are going to make you work for it. And if you don't know how to, you're going to be fucked. So
Absolutely.
I'm trying to help you see that you need to work for certain things. Yeah, and it's not just about, the manual labor. It's about presentation. You go into something looking like you don't want to be there. No one's going to take you seriously. You go in there showing up, and showing up meaning from head to fucking toe, and even in speech, you have to show up. People don't show up. So I've learned to, something. I may lack. Let's say I may not be the smartest one, but something. I'll damn sure make sure I'll be the cutest and well dressed one. I mean, but that works for, to each his own. But showing up doesn't always have to be just one thing. Showing up is whatever, however you assume showing up is. But if you're going to show up, you have to show up physically and mentally. But everything's not just mental. It also has to be physical, because what's the first thing people going to do when they meet you? They're going to look at you. And if you look like you don't want to be here, they're not going to take you seriously, and they just may pass you over. If you look like, damn, that damn is going to make them be very inquisitive, and maybe want to try to get to know you because they're curious about you. You know what I'm saying? Because you struck their opinion. Everyone looks with their eyes. That's the first thing. What people are going to see, including me. It's the first thing I look at. Oh, that catches your eye. So, but people don't see that. They think but it's all about. That's not being conceited. That's a fact. The first thing you notice about a person is their physical appearance, and if you don't put no effort into it, you think someone is going to. The norm may not sit there and say, but let me get to know the stranger. No, you make if you make yourself as stranger look not like a stranger, it's going to open a lot of people's eyes. So I don't mean to rap, but this helps me sort of like, I'm trying to change my, just, like, again, take the stuff that I went through, take my modeling, and sort of spin it into something in which it can be something bigger than what it started out to be. Because it's always about, again, old school again, about, you always have to give back. And giving back doesn't mean, okay, I donate money. Giving back is doing this, helping someone else out, giving them an opportunity, but also instilling something in them that is not instilled already, or that they have no one to sort of go to, and they don't have to go and pay. When I speak to people, and then it's not just about, just doing it at one time. It's about checking in. That
Yes.
makes the person sit there and say, "Hey, wait a minute, you actually care," because it's not just you just gave me one lesson, or we had one conversation. No, I'm gonna ask you. It may not be the next day. It may be 2 days. Sometimes I wait longer just because I'm assuming that person probably thinks that I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. I forgot about them. No, I didn't. And when you wait a little longer, it actually holds more weight, because it's like, wow, you actually remembered. You know what I'm saying? So I'm plotting things, but I have to be very tactful, and think like a detective. Maybe it's all that Law and Order, and all that Rookie and all that. Those are my favorite shows. But at any rate, you have to be very tactful, in anything that you do. And I've learned now to be so much more tactful, especially with things that I know I can make happen. And when you know that you can make something happen, you have to go in it like a freaking very crafty, and it's like so it's everything that I studied. It's now bringing all that knowledge and just being so that's my focus. But again, with the modeling, I still, like I said, I have a shoot this weekend. It's actually 5 hour shoot. I worked with this person before, and I love his work. And it's going to be in Brooklyn. There's like three different sets now. So now, between tomorrow and Saturday, I got to figure out um looks to bring and to fit, each concept. And then when I look back at the pictures that I did with him, and we first shot together, I think it was 2019. And when I saw the pictures, I'm like, who's that guy? I was stuck because I'm like, I didn't recognize. I mean, and it wasn't about the physical appearance at all. Of course, I recognized my face, but just even like, I'm like, wow, wow, wow. I've come a long way. You know what I mean? In terms of like, I look at old pictures that I've, like some of my first photo shoots. There's some that I felt as though I bodied like back in friggin' 2017 and stuff like that. And then there's others I'm like, wow, I could have did that better and stuff like that. But again, that's what artists do. You have to critique yourself in order for you to move forward and actually get better. Now it's to the point where, I feel so much more confident, in photo shoots that, and it's not a cocky thing whatsoever, but you have to but you have to be cocky, but yet not
Yes.
disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I know what I'm doing. Yes, I know how to model. I would not tell someone says I don't. That's their opinion. I know I can. I know what I bring to the table. I may not be a billionaire and stuff like that, but that was never my intention. I just wanted to take fucking pictures because I thought that I couldn't. But I was always fascinated with, I always wanted to be on the cover of a magazine. And it was, I had told someone this and they were like, oh, but that's it. I'm like, yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. That was my dream. And to see it happen, I don't care if it wasn't Harper's Bazaar, but it was a fucking magazine. To see that happen, it brought me to tears. I'm like, wow, wow. And people they always assume it has to be this. No, this is what I want, and I did it, and I'm proud of myself for doing it. You know what I'm saying? And again, just bringing that back to other people and let them know. Don't let no one discredit or knock down whatever your passion or your dream is. That's your dream. It could be, oh yeah, I want to own 5 pennies. If that's what you want to do, and you obtain it, and you feel good about it, celebrate that. Don't of course you're gonna have a hater or someone sit there and say, "Oh, it's only 5 pennies." Yeah, 5 pennies to you, but these 5 pennies mean shit to me. Or if you don't have to tell them shit, just say and keep it moving. It makes you happy. That's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? So I again, I have to sort of preach that and help instill that in others because I think it's something that's my reward. And again, this helps me because it's always good helping someone, especially when you didn't have a person. And this is no diss to like my family and nothing like that. Again, we're from different times. You know what I'm saying? People are from different times. I never hated them. I mean, I have liked it, but I never hated and say, oh, my parents didn't talk to me like that. And they didn't ask me questions or whatever. I was never that
Right.
guy. You know what I'm saying? But I want to instill that in others. I want to be that person for someone, especially for the ones that come to me unprompted and who really need it. So there's no way I can turn that away, especially if I know I can help them. You know what I'm saying? And then some again, my approach and my way of I don't want to say counseling because I'm not a counselor. I'm a person who listens. I'm a person who actually cares. So, a counselor is it's I'm turning it into a profession, but it's more than a profession. It's more of something. It's career, but it's also therapy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't want to just have a job making great money. Been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm at a point where I've been working in education for over 25 years at every discipline. Started off with a college with the grad school of education and went right to early childhood education, then elementary, then middle school, then high school. I've employed over 500 people in my whole lifetime. Some of them are now teachers. Some of them have their doctorate degree. I don't have my damn doctorate degree. I have people, adults come back to me later on in life, that I would meet up with and say, wow, you were the first person to give me an opportunity in education. And, again, I went to school, I got a degree in English, but I've always knew in the back of my head that I would love to have been a teacher. But then when I worked with teachers, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And when I fell into this type of education, like youth development, it changed my whole mindset, you know? But then it went from that to looking at city contracts and seeing how fucked up they are and seeing how you always have to gamble, but you always have to, you have to market your company, right? And it could be a gift and a curse. It could be trifling, it could be ruthless, but it's something where which you have to be tactful. So it's like now taking all of that experience and now being my own boss in my own way and my own destiny without me having to fight for something. Yes, I would have to, I would have to market my, brand and stuff like that and get supporters and stuff like that. I'm good at that. You know what I mean? Because that's the American way. That's what we have to do. I did the same, in anything any career or any type of passion you have to marketing yourself is key. And some people have a skill at it, some people don't. And some people can learn how to do it. Everyone can learn how to do it. But some people just, it's an innate quality and talent that they have in terms of, plotting their destiny and knowing how to market for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about studying and watching and looking and seeing, wait, that person did it this way. And let me see how this person's going to do it. Now how I'm going to do it. Put your own twist on it. So that's my next phase in life. Nowadays, and how it turns out, the majority of it, it's already known how it's going to turn out, because it's like I when you want something for such a long time and you can obtain it now finally, and it's sort of putting your lap, not by me saying or making it happen, when things and life happens, and that's when it's thrown in your lap. It's like, oh, now is my opportunity. And I've been through a few things outside of the seasons and stuff like that, career wise recently, where in which things were put into my lap, and it's like, now is my opportunity. And but it's something that it's supposed to happen again, based off of how I am as a person and stuff like that. And I'm eternally grateful again, just to have an opportunity to still be here and to be able to see my vision and dreams and passion actually come alive. And it's I'm not an emotional person whatsoever, but I become much more emotional only because I sometimes I have to push that sort of facade aside, because I was always the one that I would bottle a lot of my feelings up and just not let it control my physical, but just put it like in a pocket. When you put shit in a pocket, what happens? It becomes too heavy, right? And I didn't know how. And again, I spoke to so many neurologists. They were like, are you stressed? I'm like, well, I mean, and they're like, you don't look it. But they said, are you a person, like, how do you bottle? Like, when it was asking particular questions, and when I would answer, they're like, and they said the same thing, certain things can build up. Not saying that's definitely it, but it's a
Yeah.
possibility. And that struck a major chord in my head. I'm like, wow, that's what I do. That's what I've always done. Always. And maybe sometimes it's okay to not be okay and tell a person you're not okay, or telling the person how you feel or what you don't like and what you do like, and maybe not tolerating certain things that you've been tolerating for so many years, and it's like you always stood quiet about it and just went with the flow. Or having jobs where in which, oh, well, I'm making good money, but are you really happy? You know what I'm saying? So that was old Dion. New Dion is not. I'm not doing that no more. And at the end of the day, I am surrounding myself with people who actually care about me. I don't want phony people in my life. I never really did, but I've had many phony people in my life that I would see how they would move with others and how they were moving with me. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I putting up with this bullshit? You know what I'm saying? Now, no mas, and I'm very direct. I try not to be before. In the past, I'm like, I don't want people to think that I'll just cut them off in 2 seconds. But I have to, and I have to, because that's what if I always tell, especially these young students.